Okay, welcome all. I hope my screen is visible now. My screen is visible. One of you can confirm. My screen is visible, right?
Screen is visible.
Okay. So I am starting the reading from here, and then you can take over. Anyone else can take over.
If someone joins, they can read. I'm using mobile.
No problem.
Okay.
So today's section that we are going to follow is embracing the myth. Let's see what is
Embracing
the
the
myth.
present.
Yeah.
Embrace
Tragically,
present. Okay.
yeah. Tragically, I had to land the job I had always wanted before. I realized I had brought I had bought into this myth. For almost 20 years now, I have attended and now work for a large network of churches. Just after turning 30, I was given a pretty substantial promotion. I was asked to move to one of our larger locations and become the lead pastor of that campus. It was one of those moments when I thought, are you serious? I am flattered, of course. However, I question your discriminant because this job is huge and I secretly still want to be Puff Daddy's hype man. Nonetheless, someone saw something in me that I did not see in myself, and I am forever grateful. The new role was literally a dream come true. I stepped into the job as an eager young leader, ready to shape our church into what I hoped it could be. I had strong opinions about how we should
Ready
operate
to.
with.
Ready
Sorry?
to. Oh, this side. Okay. Okay. Oh,
Yeah,
sorry. Hope our. Shape our. Uh,
shape our church into what I hoped it could be. I had strong opinions about how we should operate to serve our community the best way possible. Unfortunately, over these years, I had drifted towards an unhealthy mindset, feeling like a victim whose ideas were not valued or understood within the larger organization. I felt inhibited and constrained like a tamed lion, or at the very least, an eager meerkat at the zoo, laying in my cage, having lost my ambition to lead. So this is something like, to give a little background. He's talking about his past times, how actually what was his idea about leadership and how it was a myth. It was a wrong conception that was kind of diverting him. I soon learned I was wrong because, as it turns out, the case does not even exist. At that time, I knew I was not leading to my full potential, but if you had asked me why, I would have played the victim and blamed the problems on the organization. Just They just have a way of doing things. They are not open to change. They just want me to fit in the mold, toe the line, and follow the rules. I realize I realize this might be true of some organizations, many perhaps, but it was not true for our organization. I was working and still am for a man named Andy Stanley. He is the son of a preacher, and he knows the frustration of feeling hamstrung by a large fossilized fossil organization. Andy has spent most of his intentionally seeking to create a leadership culture where the people who are responsible for executing a decision are the ones with the authority to make the decision. I will be the first to admit that our organization is not perfect, but we certainly are not a place where those who want to lead and have gifts and ideas should feel frustrated and blocked. At North Point, if you are not leading, because you do not feel like you are in charge. It's no one's fault but your own. If our organization gravitates towards one end of the spectrum, it's towards freedom to lead and not high control. I still remember the moment my excuses were exposed and I realized I had been too focused on blaming others instead of actually leading. Thankfully, my exposure was less of a Janet Jackson Super Bowl halftime show movement and instead was more of a strong conviction of my need to change. Okay, was more of a strong conviction of my need to change. It was a defining moment for me, drastically changing the way I thought about leadership. The story itself was not dramatic, but for some reason it was exactly what I needed in order to see what I was not seeing. I was meeting with Andy, who was now my boss, trying to explain why something we had done had not gone as expected and why none of it was my fault. Our central organization had given our campus some content for a presentation along with instru- instructions for pulling it off, but it had not gone as planned. Again, they determined the direction and provided this curriculum. It was our job to execute. The question loomed large like an elephant in the room. Why didn't this go well? Confidently, passionately, and scrutiniously, suck- I gave Andy three good reasons. The information had come to us late, the work given to us was sloppy, and the presentation was less than creative. I think I might have used the word lame to describe it. My argument was all right, blame, blame, blame. It was clear that we were the victims. The failure of the presentation had nothing to do with us. It was someone else's fault. As I finished listing my reasons, I felt like Andy should probably be thanking us for doing our best with the with these less than great materials. But that's not what he did. Instead, he patiently poked and probed for a few more minutes, asking me some good, tough questions. He asked, "So, if you did not like the outline, why would not you just change it to make it great?" As he asked and I answered, I began to smell the stink of my polluted thoughts. Like a surgeon removing a cancer, and this inquisition led me to a moment of insight. As we talked, I began to realize the problem was not with our organization at all. It was with me. This is the main crux. And let's see how actually overcome that. I could have said there confidently I was a passive victim of the institutional machinery, blaming and making excuse all day long. Instead, I experienced a moment of deep self-awareness. The truth of the truth of a key leadership principle hit me like a ton of bricks. I bumped into I bumped into it so abruptly that sipsily could not wait to leave his office. Leaders do not sit back and point fingers. Leaders lead with the authority of leading or without it. Leaders lead with the authority of leadership or without it. Anyway, they lead. Even if they have the authority or do not have the authority, that doesn't matter.
Leaders lead with the authority of leadership or without it.
Yes, without it also they will lead. They are the true leaders. The authority is largely irrelevant if you are a leader. You will lead when you are needed. My instinct to blame and deflect responsibility was not about having authority or lack of authority. After all, I now had a position of some authority in our organization, a seat at the table. But over the years, I had fallen into the trap of thinking, if only I had more authority, I could fix the problems I saw. It was not more authority I needed. Instead, I needed to accept the authority. Very, very important line this was. It was not more authority I needed. Instead, I needed to accept the authority I had and then use it wisely to cultivate influence and make things better. I
I
had
think he,
conceived.
I think he thought to give the work to some others and be
if
free.
if only he has the authority, then only he wanted to lead, and he believed that he doesn't have the authority. That's why he is not able to lead properly, and all things are in chaos. So this is the myth that he was having, and let's see how he overcome that. I had confused having authority with the responsibility of leading. Both are different. Authority and responsibility of leading are separate, different things. I had not yet realized that we do not need authority to have influence, and I was reminded that I already had that. In fact, my hope is to convince you that you have it as well. Perhaps you have experienced some of the same frustrations I have had as a leader, or maybe you are not currently in a position of leadership in your organization, but you have ideas and visions for how things can be done better. If so, this book is written for you. For those who feel a calling to lead but are not in charge, we live in an authority based culture where certain possibilities, certain positions possess an inherent authority and responsibility. But we all know that potential authority does not equate to effective leadership. Very, very important line. We all know that positional authority
Position and mm.
alone, positional authority alone does not equate to effective leadership. If a leader does not inspire
There is
confidence,
manager or senior manager and senior manager.
mm,
There is a manager and there is a senior manager means positional manager alone does not senior manager alone does not equate to effective leadership. Even the manager has to do.
so it is not only based on the
Higher.
positional authority, but it is the effective leadership which matters the most. That means who is a effective leader, to that person, to that leader, more people will align to automatically, even though he is a junior manager or a senior manager or a normal like manager. It may be possible that to the junior manager more fan follower or more of the respect automatically comes if he is a effective leader, but it might not happen with the senior manager. That is what actually the author is saying, and we'll see how. If a leader does not inspire confidence, he or she will be unable to effect change without resorting to brute force. Influence has always been and will always be the currency of leadership. So the currency of leadership is influence. This is very, very important point to note. Influence has always been and will always be the currency of leadership. This book is about how to cultivate the influence needed to lead when you are not in charge. Again, the statement is written, influence has always been and will always be the currency of leadership. So we will start from here, seeing it everywhere on Monday, because we have this schedule of having the daily reading only on the weekdays. at
Yeah.
1:45 p.m. So Himaliji also went.
145.
Yeah.
Mm.
So Himalji, you can note it down that tomorrow and day after tomorrow we have weekly off,
Ah,
and Monday we are going to join again. This is
All
the-
right. Thank you.
Thank you. So thank you both of you to join, and see you again on Monday, and we will see the main part coming up on Monday onwards, wherein actually we'll understand how to influence, how to lead when we are not actually given the authority, when we are not in charge, but still we can be an effective leader. Effective leadership is really required in every aspect of life, be
first
it.
chapter, what was he told about introduction was he
Yeah, the
told
kind
about
kind of
himself.
introduction is going on. His own
Okay.
life story actually he was sharing, wherein actually he misunderstood that positional authority is
Ah,
definitely needed to lead. Otherwise,
okay.
we cannot, and that's where actually he goofed up a lot. So he has given his own example, and we are at page number 19, and we'll become starting again from the page number 19 from the section seeing it everywhere from Monday.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Thank you all. Have a good day. Bye.